Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
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 Hare Krishna. So we're reading a little bit from, beginning with the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The opening words of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vande Gurun Isabhaktam Isam Isavatarakam Tat Prakasam Satat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Samyagam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnation, His plenary portions, His energy, and the prime of the Lord Himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gadadoya Pushpadanta Chitrasanatamonada. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benedictions upon all. Om Gyatimanandasya Ginandanam Salakya Chakshur Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. The sun and the moon have appeared simultaneously. That is extraordinary. It doesn't happen every day. So it is a very special time. Krishna Surya Sam, Mayayam, Krishna is like the sun, who appears everywhere. And it says that the sun is supremely pure, and wherever the sun is, anything becomes purified. Even impure places become purified by the sun. The moon is described to be of a different nature. Nitai Palikamalam Kuti Chandra Sushitala Ye Chayai Jagata Jurai. Nityananda is described as being like millions of moons. And it says that the power of these moons is to cool down all the lust and envy that is diva nisahiya jwala, that is burning within the heart, day and night. So, in this way, Lord Nityananda has a cooling effect upon the living being. Lord Nityananda is known to be the servant of the Lord. And as the servant of the Lord, Lord Nityananda is Adi Guru, the original spiritual master who engages everyone else in the service of Lord Chaitanya. And by this service, the burning fire in the heart, which is also described as Sansara-dhalana, the Lila Loka, the blazing fire of material existence, that is extinguished. So, in this way, Nityananda, the first spiritual master, and then a whole disciplic succession of spiritual masters. it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, every single one of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was such a spiritual master. They were all spiritual masters. And it said each one of them could deliver an entire universe. Such were the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were effulgent. They were just so full of transcendental bliss and energy. No one could match them. Vallabha Bhatta was a great scholar who came to Jagannath Puri, and he was a little proud because that is the one problem in studying scripture, in becoming learned in scripture, is that one becomes proud as a result of the learning. So Vallabha Acharya had some degree of that, but it said he was like a glowworm in the assembly of these effulgent personalities. Because their glory was not based on knowledge alone. Rather, their glory was based on knowledge that was thoroughly realized by practice, by then appreciating the nature of Krishna and his amazing qualities, and therefore becoming attracted to Krishna very thoroughly, and so being drawn to Krishna to a point where they could no longer resist it. At every moment, avyakta kalatva, at every moment absorbed, every moment being drawn to Krishna, and then Krishna reciprocates. Krishna is also drawn to his devotee. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita is in this way gradually revealing to us the nature of the loving exchange between the devotee and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and increasingly so. At first it sort of brushes over the subject, and then it begins to philosophically explain the subject, then it begins to show how this love of God is manifesting in Chaitanya. And as we are also reading such intimate pastimes, Chaitanya Charitamrita is also warning us to follow Vaishnava etiquette. To always take shelter. In other words, Vaishnava etiquette is actually an English translation of the word sadachar, or the behavior of saintly persons. So where we're falling short in love, there we have the prescribed behavior of saintly persons. And this combination is keeping us safe on the spiritual platform. Our natural attraction to Krishna, which is the result of exploring his qualities and then at the same time taking shelter of the behavior of saintly persons. There are different biographies written about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The first biography is written by Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta, he was a contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a few years older, and he would daily meet Nimai. In his early age, Nimai was a wild boy, a boy with a lot of energy. Somehow or other, Nimai would fight with other boys at the river. He would fight quite a bit, and he would somehow or other be very demanding. His father died at a young age, and then one day, Nimai says to his mother, now alone with his mother, he says, they lived in a simple dwelling. He says to his mother, I want to worship the Ganga. She says, yes. Just a moment and I'll bring all the things, garland and, all the paraphernalia. He says, no, I don't want to wait. And he begins to bang his fists on the ground and just go into a total fit. Then he jumps up, grabs a stick, and starts to break everything in the house. Now, she had, there were ants and all these things, so she had certain things hanging in bags. Other things were kept in pots, clay pots. And he just went wild, beating everything with his stick, smashing all the pots, smashing the bags, throwing them on the ground, making a total mess and destroying all the supplies. Then he threw himself on the ground and just cried. She, as the emblem of tolerance, it said, as I, the original mother, right, tolerated everything. Then, somehow or other, she cooked a meal. How she did it, where she got the supplies. Then she cooked a meal. She served it out and said, Nimai, this is the last meal that I will be serving because you have destroyed all the supplies and this is it. And that was all she said. Next moment, he manifests a tola, that is a thumb of gold in his hand. Gives that to her. Who gets some supply? I mean, she says it blew her mind, obviously. I mean, where does this gold suddenly come from? How does he do these things? And who is he? I mean, the question came to her mind. Who is he? Murari Gupta is the first one to write a diary. In 1510, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. That's a very dramatic moment. Everything stopped in Navadvip. From 1486 to 1510, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in Navadvip. Yes, he traveled to Gaya after his father died, after he grew up a bit, to do a special ritual. There is the Vishnupad Mandir, a temple where Lord Vishnu had stepped on a rock and his footprint is in the rock. And we can see in Gaya this temple, and the rock is there, and they're bathing the rock with milk constantly. I also went there. Saw that footprint. I did. And also got some of that milk. Yes, I got. There he met his spiritual master. That was the turning point. The turning point where Nimai Pandit, the scholar, transformed into the devotee. Yes. Even the Supreme Personality of Godhead is accepting a spiritual master. Because, of course, he doesn't need a spiritual master. When he approached Ishvarapuri said, how can I be your spiritual master? How is it possible? But somehow or other, that relationship was there because Ishvarapuri was writing a book about Krishna. And at one point, because Nimai was such a Sanskrit scholar, he asked him to check the Sanskrit. So Nimai went through the book and Nimai pointed out some mistakes. Then Ishwara Puri said, no, these are not mistakes. And based on Sanskrit dictionaries and books of grammar, he established that actually, no, this is not a mistake, this is correct. So they had that relationship already from before. Student-teacher, it was already there at an earlier time. It's not that one accepts a spiritual master out of the blue, right? And that one just simply sees a person and says, oh, please be my guru. No, some relationship develops. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed how to be a disciple. Ado Guru Palasraya Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there it all begins. First, take shelter of the feet of a spiritual master. Vande Gurun, worshipping the spiritual masters, not one, but many. Yes, the first spiritual master who showed us the path, Varpapadarshak. Then so many instructions you get, Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru, Chaitanya Charitamrita, first chapter. That is how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami begins his biography. Murari Gupta, he started writing his book in 1510. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, so much later. He started only in 1576 and finished in 1616. 1516. So it took almost 40 years. Whereas, some almost 70 years earlier, Murari Gupta started his diary. Murari Gupta begins to describe in his Kadacha how the first personalities that appeared in Navadvip, they were the associates of Madhavendra Puri, the disciples of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is the spiritual master of Ishvara Puri, the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his Param Guru, in other words. So Madhavendra Puri was the source. He created all these amazing devotees. Wherever he went, he transformed people. Later we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita described Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets this ecstatic devotee in Mathura. And sure enough, he turns out to also have a connection with Madhavendra Puri. Anybody who had any extraordinary symptoms of ecstasy in his bhakti, not just mechanical bhakti, not just, chanting rounds for the sake of fulfilling quotas and so on, in the hope that one day the mercy will rain down. Not that kind of chanting, but chanting full of taste and bliss. That kind of chanting was found in the associates of Madhavendra Puri. Oh yes, amazing personalities. And here, I happen to have some quotes. Allow me to type for a moment because I'm terrible at multitasking. Okay, here it is. So, the elders that appeared there in Navadvip are described by Murari Gupta. And he describes how Pundarik Vijayanidhi, also known as Premnidhi, came all the way from East Bengal. In the southeast corner of Bengal. The most southeast corner. Bengal was one. Now, of course, we have West Bengal and Bangladesh, because in 1947, the British, they cut the heritage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in two pieces. And East Bengal became predominated by Islam, and the places dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became covered. But something is still there, more than you think. Yes, you can go. Yes. I also went to that place. Yes. I checked it out. It was very nice. We took plane to Chittagong. Chittagong is in the southeast corner of Bangladesh, of East Bengal. And just near to Chittagong is Chattogram. And just there, outside of Chattogram, in the Chattogram district, is the village where our Pundarik Vijaniri appeared. Oh yes, now there's a temple there, Pundarik Dham, it's a very nice temple actually. And there is this big throne, and that Pundarik Vijaniri picture is there, and it's very opulent, because Pundarik Vijaniri was such a Vaishnava. He was a Vaishnava who was kind of very aristocratic, to say the least. His hair was coiffured, if you know what I mean. He had, next to him, he had some pots with scented water, sitting on a raised seat, so that the scented water was reaching his nostrils, so that he didn't have to smell anything unpleasant. There were beautiful flower gardens on his silks, right? His silk robes were draped, right? They were draped. There were some servants fanning him, and other servants were offering him plates with betel nut, which he elegantly chewed. In this way, Pundarik Vijaniri had travelled. He would regularly travel from Chattogram to Navadvip, where he had another residence. And so Pundarik was seated on a throne. Later we find a description how Gadadhar had heard about Pundarik, wanted to see him, such a devotee, went to see him, and saw him sitting on his throne. And said, oh, he's not at all a great Vaishnava, he's a sense enjoyer. But then Mukunda Datta and Vasudev Datta, they're also from the Chattogram district. Mukunda Datta is a very sweet singer. And so Mukunda Datta sat down and sang this bhajan about how Putana, that witch, smeared poison on her breast and tried to poison child Krishna. And how child Krishna accepted her breast and sucked the poison. And it didn't affect him. But he also took the milk from the breast. And he also sucked out her life air. And Putana died, and Putana then was promoted and became the mother of Krishna in the spiritual world. One of his mothers, because he has many mothers. You know how it is. I also have many mothers. My God, they're always mothering over me. You know what I mean? That's how it is. Maharaj, here's something healthy, and then I get beetroot soup, you know. Really, or something else that's terribly healthy.
It's good for you, Maharaj.
And it socks for me, and all those things. It's very nice. The love is very nice. I really appreciate it. Or an itchy woolen head or something like that. Anyhow. Yes, so Krishna also has many mothers, and Putana, the witch, became one of them. She became a Datri, a nurse. Datri actually means giver, the one who gives. So a Datri is a giver. Dadati, Datri, same roots, giver. So this is very interesting. A mother is is a giver, selfless giver. So that's Pujana became like that. So anyway, Mukunda Datta, who has a sweet voice, was singing this wonderful, about this amazing miracle. And Pundarik Vijayanidhi lost it. He lost it. He just kicked this water pots of thing. He just crashed on the ground and rolled through the water and messed up his clothes and his hair and everything. It was a total, and just totally in ecstasy, and showed that he didn't care at all about these externals. Then why was he wearing all this opulent stuff? Because Pundarik Vijayanidhi was actually none other than Maharaj Risabhanu, the father of Srimati Radharani. And therefore he was in this mood of royalty. Because Risabhanu Maharaj had a serious palace. He had 2 million cows and Nanda Maharaj only 900,000. Very opulent. So, yes. So he had that same opulence. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes call him father. Pundarik Vijayanidhi. But now, Murari Gupta takes us back in time. Before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a generation before, there is Pundarik Vijayanidhi. There is Gopinath Acharya. Oh, Gopinath Acharya, a Brahmana, learned in scripture, and at the same time so deep in his devotion that Gopinath Acharya resided there in Navadvip. And Murari Gupta is writing. Another advanced Brahmana, Gopinath Acharya, took the path of hearing Srinam Japa. Then fully intoxicated with Krishna praying, Gopinath would again and again cry out his names. He thus created a wave of song, dance and music on which he would dance like the ocean flooding its shores. Can you visualize the metaphor? So his chanting is like creating music, and it creates like waves of music, and he's dancing on that music of his japa, right? Like the waves are just dancing on the shore. So it's just like flowing out from him while he's chanting. And Gopinath Acharya, okay, that's quite something. So Murari Gupta describes like that. He also describes Chandrasekhar Acharya. Oh yes, we know in Mayapur, if we go to Mayapur, I also went to that place. And in Mayapur, there we have of course the Yoga Pit, the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not far from there is the house of Srivas Thakur. They were neighbors basically. Srivas Angan is next to the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. And Srivas was a contemporary of Jagannath Mishra, the parents of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Another contemporary was Chandrasekhar Acharya, who lived also very close. So therefore, when we are in Mayapur Parikrama, we go and we do these 3 places. Go to Yoga Pit, go to Srivasanga, and go through the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. Yes. It says in Parikrama book, yes, here, there, visit. Okay, we visit, yes. Have you seen those places? Yes. I have been. Very good. So these personalities, they were the elders. So now let's hear a little bit about Chandrasekhar Acharya. In that abode of Navadvip, where Sri Chandrasekhar Acharya, sovereign of the Guru Brahmanas, shone in transcendence, hairs erect, thrilled by Krishna's names, and soaked by tears flooding from his eyes as he reeled under the impact of Srinam. It's like, these are things you have to visualize, right? These words, you have to see the image, of him chanting. Now in Kirtan, and how the kirtan just threw him back. He reeled. He couldn't even stand straight under the impact of the holy name, Chandrasekhara Acharya. It is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later, of course, came to his house, and in his house performed a drama. He performed a drama with all the Vaishnavas. Right? So, in this way, a famous place. So all these associates are there. And yes, it all started with Madhav in the Puri. Right? In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, among the biographies of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is sometimes described as the final word, the last word. It is like taking everything. It brings everything together. Murari Gupta describes the early pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the elders. But then, so much more also happened. So that is not there. And Murari describes the amazing qualities of the devotees. Right? I mean, we just heard, these are not just devotees, these are like, extraordinary transcendental personalities, totally living in the transcendental reality, not just sort of everyday reconnecting. We get first initiation, second initiation. At time of second initiation, we receive Gayatri. So that Gayatri is supposed to be chanted, the Gayatri mantra, 3 times a day. At the sandhyas, at the joint of the day and the night in the morning, at noon, and at night, at the joint of day and night. Approximately. Anyway, and what is the idea? The principal idea of the Gayatri is to reconnect. Because after a whole night of sleep, in the morning you rub the sleep out of your eyes, like okay, a shower. Some people don't even get time for that. Splash a little water in the face and ready to go. A bit of perfume here and there, and the day is ready to begin. Others who are a little bit more in the mode of goodness actually take a full shower and put on clean cloth and start the day. Then after that, the brahmanas do so. Take their baths, put clean cloth and so on, then sit and chant Gayatri. To reconnect. To reconnect to the Supreme Lord, to the transcendental platform, to the transcendental vision, to understand that actually spirit is more important than matter. Prabhupada used to say, the paintings on the wall are windows to the spiritual world. Right? So, those paintings on the wall that you're seeing here, those are not pictures. Those are not pictures. Those are windows. Got that? Then, those windows behind me, those are not windows. Those windows behind me, they are pictures. Because what you see out there is not real. That's not real. And what you see on those paintings, that's real. Okay, folks? I got that one. Yes, in this way, Prabhupada used to tell us. So the Gayatri mantra brings us to transcendence, to the transcendental vision, to residing there. That is where we live. Not here. Here in this world is not home. We have no home in this world. If you have a sign on your wall, home sweet home, take it down. Tonight, when you get there, and just change it for it's just temporary residence, right? It's the waiting room. right? You don't hang a home sweet home sign in a waiting room or in the lounge, the waiting lounge where you board the plane. Oh, the home is the spiritual world. So these Vaishnavas, whose descriptions are given by Murari Gupta, are basically there. Residents of the spiritual world, Jivan Mukta. They are Ihayasya Haridasya Karmanamana Sagira Nikala Swapi Avastas of Jivan Mukta Sauchite. They're in this world, but at the same time liberated souls, and they're really there. You say it also. If someone's very spiritually exalted, you say, wow, he's really there, you know what I mean? Where? There. Where is that? There. Very high. Yes, the spiritual world. Living in the relationship with Krishna. And he's also in this material world, but not really like seeing that this is the world, what it's all about. And it's not about New York. It's not about planet Earth. It's not about this universe. And it's not about all that. It's about the spiritual world. It's not that spiritual life is a philosophical adjustment. Now, since I read this book, my eyes have been opened. Now I know that there is an eternal world. Congratulations. You get a diploma, a certificate, you have passed, you've passed the exam. That's supposed to be the outcome of this course. But there is more than a course. One has to realize the spirit of the spiritual world. Not just know about the spiritual world, but realize the spirit, realize the love of God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namamavaninyaya, Krishna Prema Padayate, Krishnaya, Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratrisya Namaha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Rupa Goswami defined it, is the one who freely distributes the love of God to all, to the most fallen, the most exalted to the most fallen. That which was never distributed before. Question? Yes, question, please. Yes. Then, if you said it was never distributed before, then how come Madhavendra Puri had all this? And how come that here is Chandrasekhara Acharya reeling under the impact of the holy name? And how is it that Gopinath Acharya is chanting japa and is sort of dancing on the waves of his own japa? How is it all happening? When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not yet appeared. How about that? That's funny. When clearly Rupa Goswami, our Acharya, says that it begins with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Contradiction. So this is the first problem we encounter when we are reading this biography of Murari Gupta, the first biography. How is it possible that Madhavendra Puri had such symptoms of love of God that he could transform all these people and turn them into prema bhaktas, devotees full of love? How is it possible? If it starts with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we read the diary of Murari Gupta, you have to be awake. Don't sleep while reading it. But if you are awake, you will find the verse which gives the answer. And that verse which gives the answer is where it says that Madhavendra Puri is the Shakti Avesh avatar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oh, that's interesting. What does it mean anyway? Well, that I'll share with you now. Shakti Avesh. Avesh means the personification. Shakti means the energy. Shakti Avesh. He is the avatar he's the incarnation, who's the personification of the energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, a living being, a jiva like us, but an empowered one. One who is so much empowered that this divine potency is just manifesting through him. There are many Shakti Avesh avatars that are recognized. For example, Buddha, Shakti Avesh avatar. Narada Muni, Shakti Avesh avatar. And also Jesus Christ, Shakti Avesh avatar. I mean, where there is special potency, special divine potency, manifesting through a living entity. Not just pure devotee. Pure devotee means full dedication. He who has given everything in service of the Lord, that is pure devotee. But Shakti Avesh also means now special power manifests through him. So many pure devotees who fully have dedicated their lives. But different categories. In the Ramayana, we know the story of building the bridge to Sri Lanka, to the island Lanka. And we remember that Hanuman especially was quite active. Now Hanuman was powerful, and Hanuman just ripped off mountain tops and threw it in the water. Wrote Ram on the rock and just threw it in the water. Meanwhile, there's a spider, and this spider is throwing crumbs. So at one point Hanuman could just say, "Hey, spider, get out of the way. You know, we're building a bridge here, you know. I mean, please, you know, before I step on you, you know, I'm a vegetarian." And Hanuman throws his rocks in the water. But then Lord Ramachandra says, "No, Hanuman, you are both equal in my eyes, because you're both giving it everything you have." So we see, the spider was also a pure devotee, Hanuman also a pure devotee, but Hanuman was a specially empowered devotee. So see the difference. So here Madhavendra Puri is the especially empowered devotee. He is the root of the Chaitanya tree. Then he has these sannyasis who are very powerful. One of them is Paramananda Puri. Well, Kavi Karnapur, he tells us Paramananda Puri is none other than Uddhava. Uddhava, close devotee of Krishna. Then we understand why Paramananda Puri was so special. He's Uddhava. If you've told me that from the start, then I would have understood. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is written, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Paramananda Puri, he said, Paramananda Puri, the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, said, "Today I see Madhavendra Puri in front of me in the form of Paramananda Puri." That's amazing. That verse is something. When you read that, you think, wow, what a disciple. Right? Here is the Guru is manifest in the presence of the disciple. What a disciple. Just from that one verse, one can understand how to be a disciple. So in this way, the Chaitanya Charitamrita is very rich, right? It gives just each verse in itself. There's a story in the book, many stories, but there's also individual verses, and from each verse we can draw so many things. Just from this verse, Paramananda Puri. Now Madhavendra Puri is present in the form of his disciple Madhavendra Puri. The disciple who is so dedicated is just manifesting his spiritual master. That is wonderful. So in this way we're appreciating the depth. So I'm leaving now Murari Gupta's diary, I have described the elders and how the elders have sort of preceded Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how it all came from Madhavendra Puri, and I've explained how Madhavendra Puri was the root of everything and how where he got his power. And ultimately from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Shakti Advaita. So it did come from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu originally. Then I will carry on to the next very important book, and I already kind of preempted it when I spoke about Paramananda Puri being Uddhava, and that it was Kavi Karnapur who spoke. So Kavi Karnapur is a very interesting personality because Kavi Karnapur was the son of Sivananda Sen. Sivananda Sen is actually from the same area as Ishwarapuri, a place known as Kumarhata, which is not too far of Calcutta actually. This Kumarhata is an important place, it's the birthplace of Ishwarapuri. It is also the place of Sivananda Sen and his son. Kavi Karnapur was there. When Sivananda Sen was a householder very dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used to organize the annual pilgrimages of the devotees going from Bengal to Puri, and so he was like a manager. I went also to the birthplace of Sivananda Sen. That was interesting. In Bangladesh. Yes, I also went to that place actually. I also saw that. And somehow or other, in the birthplace there is a tree in the middle of the fields. I don't know what it was, but if you check out in Vedic culture, apparently ladies always gave birth under trees because in any birthplace there always is a tree. Yeah? Anyway. Sorry. Maybe they planted the trees later on, to mark the birthplace. Acha. Possible. Anyway. Whatever. So, we were there under that tree. 2 kilometers away from there is a whole temple dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is a portrait, an ancient portrait of Sivananda Sen. And it could be an original portrait. It's an old painted portrait. And I tell you, he really looked like Sivananda Sen. A guy, a manager. As soon as I saw him, I said, that's a manager. He had it, I mean, you can spot one, right? Sharp, I mean, a look in his eyes like very observant, seeing everything. Clear-headed, not like sort of a dreamy kind of like, I don't know. I mean, when you look at that Sivananda Sen, he's with it completely, on top of it, right? It might just be. Because after all, they used to have natashalas in Bengal. Natashalas where they would keep paintings and art related to the Lord and his devotees, and also books and all these things. For example, Kanai Natashala, right? Kanai is of course Krishna, and that Kanai Natashala is a famous place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went, and that was clearly a place where they stored manuscripts, where they stored works of art, and so on. So there also, so that painting of Sivananda Sen could have been a real one. Anyway, leaving that for what it is, but it is interesting to go on these pilgrimages because you see all kinds of things that you just can't see here from, sitting here and Googling a little bit on the internet and sort of, okay, Sivananda Sen, Google, Wikipedia, there it is, Sivananda Sen, okay, Kavi Karnapur, got that, okay, got it all, okay. Old hat, The Swami gave this lecture today, it was all old hat. Therefore, I drew in a painting for you that you've never seen. Whoa. Yeah. I'm planning to take a group of devotees to Bangladesh. adventurous to go there. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
We went to the birthplace of Advaita Acharya, and it was really nice. We had to cross 2 rivers and drive over rough terrain in these but tempos. And then we were there in the place, and there were not enough mosquito nets. So the 2 devotees in 1 mosquito nets, right? And then, yes, in the middle of the night, suddenly a lot of screaming, and it turned out there was a rat in the mosquito net.
Oh my God.
It's intense being with a rat in a mosquito net. It's one thing having them on the rail tracks, but in a mosquito net is another dimension. Yeah? Are you ready?
Yes.
But it's the birthplace of Advaita Acharya. There's the dust, and you can roll in it and put it on your head. Do you have faith?
No.
Do you have faith? Are you ready? Are you ready to just take shelter of the Lord and take any hardships and just go there and roll in the dust?
It's Wikipedia for me.
We'll post pictures for you. Okay, we'll go there, take the pictures, we'll write it all down for your Facebook, whatever. We'll make sure you're connected. Anyhow, but yes, it is amazing. So all these places, and here Shivananda saying, the close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had a son, he was a householder, and although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was strict with the brahmacharis and the renunciate, with the grihastas, was admiring their babies. And here is the baby, and Shivananda saying brought his newborn son and placed him at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the child took the toe of the Lord and put it in his mouth. Now, if you ever had a child, that's a good process, because Kavi Karnapur, he transformed. And Kavi Karnapur, he became extraordinary. At 5 years old, he is like composing all this deep, deep devotional poetry about the pastimes of Krishna and the gopis in Vrindavan. He's like a totally realized Mahabhagavat at age 5. And then a great literary personality. His whole life he was a literary personality. Kavi Karnapur writes this book, right, called the Gaura Ganadesh Deepika. Important book, published in 1572. So, way before the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's only published in, as I told you, 1615, 1616. So this book of Kavi Karnapur is sometimes known as the Who is Who, right? Because in that book, after all, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes, Prajendananandan ye satchi sutta se, Balaram holanitai, says Narottam. Prajendanandan, Krishna, it comes as the son of Sachi, and Balaram comes as Nityananda. So, in this way, there is that parallel reality. On the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but now golden, in the mood of Radharani, and walking like in this way. But not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Balaram has become Nityananda. And all the associates actually have their parallel identity. So here they are. And yes, the Gaura Ganadesh Deepika is like revealing all the parallel identities. So that's important, that you sort of get an idea of who is who. That helps quite a bit. For example, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. You know, a Bhattacharya is a Brahmana who is very learned, right? It's a title, Bhattacharya, very learned Acharya, and he is Sarvabhauma. He has this title that he can teach the entire world. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. How did he get the title? His name was Vasudeva Bhatta. Vasudeva Bhatta Acharya. And it is so that in Vedic scripture there is one branch called Nyaya. This Nyaya deals with logic. And you know, you can have lots of interesting debates in Nyaya. For example, is the pot in the air or is the air in the pot? I had very interesting discussions like this, right? Or, you know, Kakatala Nyaya, there's the fruit. The crow landed on the branch of the tree. The fruit fell. Now, what is the cause? Right? Was it that the fruit was ripe and just fell because it's ripe? Or was it that the crow, as it landed, was shaking the branch, right? And the crow was the cause? Like this, they're investigating all the causes. Right? So, okay, it's a system of logic. Now, in Vedic times, they did very well with this system of logic. But somehow or other, when Buddhism came up, there was a real problem with this Nyaya, that Buddhist logic, right, was somehow or other difficult to defeat through the system of Nyaya. And the Buddhists were defeating all these Nyaya philosophers. So this was a great problem. So in Ayodhya, in Mithila, the area of Ayodhya district, the Pandits came up with a renovated Nyaya called Navanyaya. And that was very successful, and there were lots of Buddhists also in that area, so they were successfully